We're talking about getting older today, but not getting old. Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. If this is your first time to Happy Stuff and Fluff, welcome. You're in for a treat today. We have a guest today, a fabulous woman over 50 who very kindly offered to come and have a coffee with us. Give yourself half an hour's me time, grab yourself a coffee and come and sit down and listen to this fabulous conversation. So our woman over 50 today is an author. She started out as a children's author. She now writes for adults. Her name is Barbara Spencer. Very funny lady, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So watch this, and I'll come and speak to you afterwards. So today I'm very excited to be having coffee with a fabulous woman over 50 who also happens to be an award-winning children's author who is now writing for an older audience, and she's very graciously agreed to spend half an hour with us on Happy Stuff and Fluff. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, Barbara. It's great to have you here.
I'm delighted to be here. It's a lovely opportunity.
Yeah, cool. Well, on Happy Stuff and Fluff, we're all about getting happy and growing younger. And by that, I mean, yes, we are all getting older, but we don't have to get old.
Totally, absolutely, 100% or 105%, as they say today. I agree with that.
I know you do, and I know that because I've read your book, this book, which is called, and it's a fabulous title, and congratulations on your award for the children's book, but it was this book that drew my attention to you. We will talk a little bit about your children's book later on because you very kindly agreed to include that in the giveaway, which is brilliant of you. But for now, it's this book, Age and the Antique Sideboard, like I say, a fabulous title, that I wanted to talk about. The best thing to do, I think, is if I just read the first page, which kind of introduces what the book's about, and then we'll take it from there, if that's okay. So at the beginning of the book, you say, my love affair with both life and words began in 1969, when a fashion magazine paid me the godly sum of £25 to write an article about travel. Other articles followed, and from these humble beginnings came children's books full of rib-tickling humour and scintillating action. However, my desire to wax lyrical about the absurdity of life remained, and whilst journeying by train to some far distant school or to a signing at Waterstones, I began scribbling down my thoughts. Blogs, anecdotes and short stories followed. Now of an age to remember the past, I thought, why not? There has to be heaps of people around like me. Well, not exactly like me, but near enough to enjoy and remember how life once was. And I think then, if I'm writing saying that this is not a book about getting older, it's a book about your observations on life as you get older. Would that be right to say?
I think that's quite true. And the changes to life that are happening that are ridiculous, some of them. And I wanted to talk about them because they're crazy and they shouldn't be about. And so quite a few of those I've mentioned as well.
Yeah.
I often feel very sorry for young people. I think they're not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I agree with you totally. It was great to hear you talk about, I mean, you wouldn't call yourself politically correct, Barbara, would you?
No. I'm absolutely opposite of politically correct.
Yeah, and make no apologies for it.
I just think we're becoming mealy-mouthed. Where life should be grabbed and lived, and I don't know whether everybody's doing that today. That's what I do feel. And my generation, we certainly did believe in grabbing life and living it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that. I mean, some of the laugh out loud moments from your book are kind of things that you know, the kind of things that you think you shouldn't be laughing at, but you're laughing at it anyway because it's funny. It was those things, and something that just let me get, because I've written down the pages of what I wanted to read. Oh, here it is. About piercing. So this is about fashion most extraordinary. And you say, you open up by saying, I hate piercings, full stop. Ears I can tolerate unless there's a chasm in the lobe wide enough to carry the Gotthard tunnel through the Swiss Alps. That really made me laugh, because I know what you mean. Those
exactly what I mean. Yes.
Great big holes. Even a neat stud in the side of the nose is okay until you go swimming, when it most likely resembles the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Oh dear, very funny. And then you go on to say, now let's be honest, how can piercing the septum with a ring that hangs down like fossilized snot ever be considered an elegant fashion accessory, except by primitives who lived 10,000 years ago? Such adornment should only be worn by something that has 4 legs, stands in a field, eats grass, and bellows a lot.
I do hope I don't offend. I shan't offend my generation. I know that. I might offend the young ones. So.
No, because I know it isn't written in that vein, is it? You're not writing to offend anyone. It's your, yeah.
I'm writing to amuse my own generation, because so many people think like me.
Yeah.
You know, especially when that particular instrument, which is a large ring, is behind the counter at Neewer serving me coffee, and I think, oh no, definitely not. This is something wrong with this.
Oh, that's very funny. But I know, myself included, you look at things, and I can consider myself as someone who tries to keep up to date with fashion and with what's going on. But there are definitely some things that you look at and think, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
They don't actually add. This is what I want to say to young people. You are beautiful. You've got wonderful skin. You've got everything that we haven't got as we get older. And then you go and ruin it. All these other things, and they don't make you more beautiful because you were beautiful in the first place.
Oh, that's a very...
I'm not allowed to say all that. I'll probably get arrested.
No, that's a very lovely thing to say. But like your daughter seemingly admonishes you by saying, but they are expressing themselves.
Yes, I know, but I wish they wouldn't.
That's a way that they express themselves. But no, I think it's great, and that you do actually see some things. Go on, sorry.
No, you said they're expressing themselves. I don't always agree with that.
Okay, go on.
I feel these things happen because young people especially, need to feel better about themselves, and they think that having another tattoo or another piercing or another tattoo will make them feel better, and it doesn't actually do it.
No.
The only thing that's going to make them feel better about themselves is a change of lifestyle. But nobody's got the courage actually to say that.
Right, okay. Yeah, okay, well... Yeah, no, and I applaud you for it. But I also think, though, and I don't know whether I told you this, but I lectured at university for 7 years to 18 to 21-year-olds. And yes, sometimes they came in. The one particular fashion that I struggled with in the boys was the trend where they wear their trousers very low slung so that you can see all their underwear at the back. And it looks as though any minute the trousers are just going to dribble down their legs. And that worried me as a lecturer when I saw these boys walk in with these trousers, and I didn't quite understand that one. And I do wonder whether it is simply a way of perhaps trying to make themselves different, or to, you know, separate themselves from adults and do something outrageous maybe. And if you can't do it when you're young, when can you? But certainly I used to feel, in the end, I felt like saying, for goodness sake, pull your trousers up. No, but I never did, Barbara. I never did, and I wished maybe I should have done. I suspect you would have done.
Well, I did in there, didn't I? I put bring back real bottoms.
Oh yes, I saw.
I did actually do a lot of commenting. My granddaughter got very cross with me, but still, I won that one.
Go on, tell me why your granddaughter got cross with you.
Well, because we were having a conversation in the road, and she couldn't disagree with me just in case she made a lot of noise and attracted attention. Whereas I don't mind if I attract attention. So she was busily shushing me while I was, be quiet, Barbara, be quiet, people will hear you.
Right, so tell us briefly what they bring back.
Bring back real bottoms was all to do with these trousers.
Right, okay.
They slollop along the road and they look as if they're wearing a nappy, and if they're trying to run, they can't. I mean, and quite a lot of the boys get deformed knees. This annoys me too, because they don't realise. So I always think they should be physically marched into a shop and forced to look at themselves from behind. And then they wear a decent pair of trousers.
That's a great word, slollop.
It is, and that's what they do because they can't move their legs very far.
Oh dear, that's so funny. That's so funny. So, in general, Barbara, can I ask you, how do you feel about getting older?
Well, I've just been playing golf.
Okay.
Second time this season, and I feel a hell of a lot better than I did the first time this season. And I'm looking forward to the summer because I know very well golf will make me feel much younger, and that will be great.
Is that the exercise part of it, the competition part of it?
The exercise part of it. Fresh air and walking through, and it's leisurely and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how do I feel about getting older? Nobody likes getting older, but I think there's a lot of opportunities which you don't have. We were talking about it last night, about all the things that there were men and women in the conversation, all of us have done since we've retired.
Right.
And they were saying, of course, we didn't have these opportunities when we were working. We didn't do any of these things. We had to retire in order to do all these things. Yeah. And I think in that way, you just forget you're getting older. All you're doing is embracing all these new opportunities. And for some of the men, it's very ordinary. I've got one of the guys, he's going off to see the First World War gun emplacements. He wants to do that. And he wanted to go to Poland. None of those things he managed to do because with his children, it was always a beach and sun and sand. So he had to wait for now. So he's not thinking he's getting older. He's just thinking it's a wonderful bit of time that he can devote himself.
Right. So it's free. One of the good things then is the freedom you have once you've your family have moved away.
Oh, it's a huge positive. When I was working with the UN in Geneva, this American woman said, I'm retiring next week. And she said, I'm so looking forward to the last third of my life when I can do all the things that I've missed out on.
Right.
And I thought that was quite wonderful.
Yeah. Can I ask what you were doing for the UN in Geneva?
Well, in those days, I spoke French, and they needed a French English speaker in Geneva for a month or two while somebody went on holiday. So that's what I was doing.
Right. And when did you actually get into writing? It was children's books you started to write at first, was it? Or did you write articles or?
No, I first started by writing articles, and everybody wanted me to write articles, and my boss was always wanting me to do this bit of writing or that bit of writing. And it wasn't until I came back to England and I was bringing up my daughter who was a swimmer. And I was forced to spend long hours on the poolside. I needed something to do.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, hey, why not? Let's have a go with a story. And that's what I did. And I've been writing ever since.
Do you mind me asking roughly about what age you were at that point? Were you young when you started to do that, or?
No, because I wasn't a young mother. I didn't have my daughter till I was 39.
Okay.
And she would have been, I'd have been 40s? Yes, because she would have been 8, 9, 10. I'd have been 50.
Right, okay. So you started pretty much a new career at the age of 50, did you then?
Absolutely. Yes, that's what I did.
Because I think that seems to be, I was going to say a growing trend, but it probably isn't a trend that lots of women seem to, at that age, change careers and start, completely start again. Perhaps it is because their families are grown and they've got more time, or what people call me time.
I think it's also because we've grown into ourselves. We've come to know the person we are, and therefore we can go out and do all these other things. I mean, for so much of our lives, we're searching for the real person. If you know who you are right from an early age, you're jolly lucky. Most of us don't.
No.
Most of us are going one step at a time, one day at a time, playing catch up.
Yeah.
Get this age of 40, 50, no longer 40, 50 probably, and you've got lots of time left. Why not do all the things that you want to do, and you change career and set out on a different pathway? Right.
Do you also think, because I'm just going to read a quotation to you if I can find it, and I probably can't. Oh dear. It was a quotation from the actress Sybil Shepherd, and she talked about the fact that she was concerned that when she was getting older, she wouldn't be valued anymore, or she would, some people feel that they might kind of just disappear and not be valued as an older person. Well, how do you feel about that? I mean, is it about attitude or?
Well, I think for Sybil Shepherd, probably she was known because of her looks, because of her youth, and in that particular field, it's still very, very difficult for a woman if they lose their looks. I was thinking of it'll come back to me in a minute. I was just one particular actress. After her one role, she tried to have her nose fixed, and she didn't do anything again.
Oh, really?
People wanted her as she was, and I think that for them, the need to be beautiful and young is probably much more than anything else.
Yeah. Sure.
For us, it isn't anywhere near as pressing. I wanted to, while I was thinking about it, I was thinking about my mother.
Okay.
And I'm hoping this will be helpful to everyone out there listening. But my mother always said she was better looking at 60 than she was at 50. And she was better looking at 70 than she was at 60. And she was.
Wow.
She may have had more wrinkles, but she was such a much nicer person because she'd come to terms with who she was. She'd got through all the difficulties. She was living the life she wanted to. And in fact, she was very much better looking. So it isn't a question of possibly dreading old age. It's a question of saying, oh, come on, I'm going to look even better than I do now. Let's keep going. I'm going to have a wonderful time, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy my life for the next 30 years. 30 years is a huge span of life.
Yeah. And I mean, now we're talking about people living to be 100 and beyond, which we've talked about on.
One of our lady golfers is 86.
Yeah.
And she plays golf 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad going.
That's the key, isn't it? I think, Barbara, is if you are fit and well and you have your health, I think that's that's a key to how much you're going to enjoy life as you get older. Is an exercise, obviously, what you've just said there is key to that.
Well, yes, walking. I mean, golf is just a good walk, isn't it? That's all.
Yeah.
It's nothing more. We just walk a nice distance in wonderful scenery and thoroughly enjoy ourselves. And we play rubbish golf and get back to and meet some nice people.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you can walk and get out in the fresh air, there's absolutely no reason why that 30 years doesn't become a really, really special period of time.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned in the Antique Sideboard that you have no need to go to the gym anymore because of the number of times you have to run up and down stairs to get things you've forgotten.
Oh my goodness, that is very true.
And how many pairs of glasses do you have to have?
Yes, I know. The optician did very kindly say I didn't need any more this time, and I nearly said, oh, hang on a minute, because I generally, I mean, I went to bridge last night. I found I had 3 pairs in my handbag, and I didn't know which pair would be.
Okay, viewers, well, if you want to know what we're talking about there, you're going to have a look at Agent the Antique Sideboard, the story of why Barbara has no need to go to the gym anymore. Just a few quick fire questions for you, Barbara. Don't worry, it's not going to be anything too taxing, just things that, you've talked about getting older and what the most rewarding thing is. Is there anything in particular that you think is, what's the worst thing in your mind about getting older, do you think?
Well, I think as long as you've got your health, there isn't really. You go up and you do the most terribly stupid things, and you can't help that. I'm constantly banging my head on the cupboard door because I've forgotten I've opened it. And I'm not as nimble, and I can't multitask quite well. But I mean, hey, we're not bothering about those sort of things.
No, absolutely not.
I can still do everything, and I can still add up quicker than my granddaughter, so I'm not at all.
Yeah. Oh, wow, I bet. Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you, do you have a pet?
No, I don't. I have considered a dog, but I don't think that's appropriate at this stage. I want to continue travelling this year, so. Yeah,
because I see you travel a lot. What's your favourite? What's your favourite destination? Do you have one?
Well, until now it was always going home, which I regarded as home, which was the West Indies, where I lived for so many years.
Okay.
Now I think it's going to be France, Spain, and Europe. I don't know them as well, so yes.
Okay. Now this is a big one. Is there a particular book or a particular author, say, who you've read who influenced you greatly in your life or recently?
Yes, there's loads of authors that have influenced me, but there was one that I come back to constantly, and I'm on the second copy, and that is, can you see it? Is it, 1 minute?
Hold us up a bit. Tracy, Chevalier. Oh, yeah.
Girl with a pearling earring.
Yeah.
And it is beautifully written, and I've read it a number of times. Bought my granddaughter a copy because she stole mine, and bought myself a new one. I think she stole it, read it, handed it off to someone else, so I bought my second copy. I absolutely adore. And more recently, I've never had a book that I couldn't bear for it to end, and it was Anthony Doerr's All the Light We Cannot See.
All the Light We Cannot See. I've not heard of that one.
He won the Pulitzer Prize for it. He took 5 years to write it, and it is beautiful. It is about 2 characters, a German and a young French girl during the war, and it is absolutely exquisite. So, yes,
brilliant.
Those are mine.
Thank you very much for that. Another big one that's difficult for you to answer, possibly. If you knew then what you know now when you were a young girl, what advice would you give to yourself about getting older?
Well, I was talking on the golf course. The woman I play golf with, she's 81. She's got grandchildren as well. And we were talking about young people and about succeeding. And we both said that if young people can only listen to their parents, they stand a very much better chance of succeeding. If they can take advice from their parents and listen and so forth. Now, having said that, I'm going to say that's total and utter rubbish. Because if I'd listened to my parents, I would be in a monastery by now with corsets on. So there you go. I can't really tell you what the answer to that one at all.
Right.
At the time.
So you really ought to listen to your parents, but probably don't.
Well, I think so.
Well, Barbara's very kindly offered to do a giveaway for us, which includes this, and it's a very funny book, I think, about her observations on the world as she's getting older. And also, I believe you're going to add a children's book for us, because many of our viewers have grandchildren, so I think they would be delighted by that.
And this is the one that won the awards, The Amazing Brain of OC Longbotham.
Can you just hold it up a little bit, Barbara, please? There it is, yeah. The amazing...
A little post-it note on the top, which says, "Do not read this book when eating, drinking, or operating heavy machinery."
And that's the book that won an award, is it, Barbara?
Yes, it won several awards because it is very much it's about two misfits, and I wanted to bring out the fact that, you know, disabled people can be absolute heroes, and they are, I mean, they drive you mad. Okay, they're both of them totally awful characters, but they're quite wonderful, and they are my heroes.
Brilliant. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit later about what you need to do if you want to get this book along with the children's book. And two things I want to end with. There was a study done in the United Kingdom and it was a huge study of over 300,000 people. And the outcome of that was that the happiest people in this country are aged between 65 and 79.
Yes. Which
I'm always quoting that because I think it's brilliant that they did such a huge study. So we're not wrong on Happy Stuff and Fluff when we talk about getting happier and growing younger. But also, if you happen to live in Denmark and you are over 65 and you are a woman, you are in the happiest group in the world.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. So Denmark always comes at the top of the happiest list, their country. So I found myself in Copenhagen on a boat ride, and there were 4 women who looked to be over the age of 65 sitting in front of us. And I was thinking, oh, should talk to these women. I should talk to these women. And then I didn't. And in the end, I didn't want to lose them. I know it's only a study of 4, but when we got off at the same place and when I walked into the cafeteria to get a coffee, there they were. So I approached them because they're very proud of it. You know, in Denmark, when you land in the airport, it's all over about the fact that they are the happiest nation. So it was easy to broach them with the subject and ask what they thought about it. One of the things they actually said was, "You people think too much. Just do it. Just live it and just do what you want to do." Simple. And I've always remembered that. I thought, you know, sometimes maybe we do overthink things. Maybe that's the key. Maybe we should just take a deep breath and do it.
Don't you think one of the national characteristics of English people is guilt? That we carry this huge burden of guilt around with us. I mean,
guilt.
If I stay in bed for an hour, I feel guilty, and I think to myself, well, "That's crazy. Why should I feel guilty? Who should I feel guilty for?"
Yeah.
I think we do, and possibly they've got rid of that, and they just do.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Well, I'd like to invite you to join us on Happy Stuff and Fluff. Subscribe to the channel, then you can join us every week, and I'm sure you'd have incredible, valuable comments to make on some of the subjects we talk about. It's been brilliant talking to you, Barbara, and I hope you'll come back and talk to us again.
I will.
What's your next project? Can you tell us what your next project is?
Well, I'm writing a fantasy, but I will say something. I don't often blow my own trumpet, but somebody stopped me in the street yesterday and said, I was given your book for Christmas and I loved it. And I thought, oh, wasn't that nice? That did me good. And
yeah.
It was broken.
Broken. Is that an adult?
It's an adult, yes.
Adult.
And I'm writing for adults now.
So, okay, whilst you're doing that, tell us where people can find out more about your work, Barbara. Do you have a website?
Yes, www.barbaraspencer.co.uk.
Oh, well, that's easy enough to remember, isn't it? So if they want to know more, they can go there. Thank you once again. It's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you for giving up your time, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, I hope so. Bye-bye.
Bye. So wasn't that delightful? Such a charming lady. And a lot of that conversation really resonated with me, and I thought it was particularly relevant to us, especially given last week's conversation. I'll put a link to that here, where I talk about the fact that it's happiness within that brings out the beauty in your skin. When Barbara talked about her mum,
who felt that she was getting better looking the older she got. And that was because the older she got, the nicer she got. And that was, of course, because by the time she got to that age, she'd become a nicer person, because probably she was more relaxed, because she was more self-aware, all of those things that we talk about on Happy Stuff and Fluff. So as I say, I just thought that was lovely, and lots of things resonated with me. So what I would like you to do, if you want to enter the giveaway, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. If you want to enter the giveaway, is just to tell me in the comments box below what resonated with you from that conversation, or what particular part of that conversation did you enjoy the most, and then we'll pick a name at random. And Barbara's book, Age in the Antique Sideboard, will come winging to you, along with her award-winning children's book, which I haven't yet seen, but I believe is delightful, and I'm sure that would be perfect for you to either read to or give to your grandchildren. So please do that. As I say, I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation, so much so that I'm wondering whether or not we should do a series of conversations with fabulous women over 50. If you think that's a good idea, tell me that too. And then, if you know any fabulous women over 50, and I'm sure you do, including yourselves, who have something to say about getting older or about life over 50, let me know. And we can get together and have an informal coffee chat, such as this one, and get some different ideas and different opinions from other people. I think that would be lovely. Okay, so yeah, I was really excited about that, and very pleased, and want to thank you, Barbara, very much for giving us your time. Okay, so until the next time, I will see you soon. Remember, on the Happy Stuff and Fluff channel, we are getting happy and growing younger. Thank you so much for watching. You know I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.